I went to the doctor. Of course, they scheduled me the wrong doctor for reasons. So it's a new doctor. I go there to the Total Spine in Melbourne, and they're like, "Yeah, so we're looking at this MRI and X-ray I got in the hospital. Don't see any instability." I'm like, "Well, of course you don't, because it's a prone MRI and it's a flexion extension X-ray. I just you don't see shit." So like that's what a digital motion X-ray. I'm like, "Did you see my digital motion X-ray?" He's like, "What digital motion X-ray?" I'm just like, Jesus Christ. So I'm like, okay, like I have alar ligament damage in my upper cervical. He's talking about like my C5, C6, there's a slight bulge. He's like, I can operate on that. I'm like, no, like I have the upper cervical. Like I showed him, I took off my brace, I got up, I was holding the back of my head. I was like, look what happens when I try to stand. And I'm trying to stand, and I'm like, oh, just like trying to like hold my head up without, and it's like deep breaths, just like focus, trying to keep my head balanced, trying to keep my head up with no collar, and it's really hard. And I'm like, watch what happens when I put my one finger on the base of my skull and gently push, which is about where like a craniocervical fusion would go, and I'm completely stable. You can move around, I'm fine. You can just do whatever. Take my hand off, boom, I'm stable again. It's like I just don't have any stability from my ligaments. My alar's not doing shit. And so it's like, and I show him that, and he's like, yeah, well, I don't see anything on the imaging though. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. So I, explain that like my whole history, like going to like how, when this first started, like I was having upper cervical problems, like pain around, like in between my C1, C0. When I lean forward, not when I bend my chin to my chest, but when I actually just lean forward. Like if like imagine you're like washing your hands in a sink in the kitchen and you lean forward over the sink like that. Like if I lean forward, like I have so much pain in that like occipital region of my skull, upper cervical. I can't hold my head like that. It's awful. Um, and just nothing's holding it in place. Like the muscles have to do it, and they're already overworked, and there's pain from the stretching of the alar ligament, and it's awful. And so I have that, and like it's just, and then he was telling me like the options are like for you could get like C1 C2 fusion and like C0 C2 like craniocervical, and they could do that there, but he doesn't think it'll help me. I'm like, when I move around and I'm unstable, the C0 C1 joint hurts really bad and is like shaking, like it can't hold my head up. I can feel it shaking and pulling, and I really struggle to like hold it up. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it'll help. And like on top of that, I told him like before I became bedridden, I literally felt like about an inch deep in my C1 area, right in the back of my skull, right below the occipital ridge, and about an inch deep. Um, I felt tearing. I heard tearing. I felt tearing, and then this all started, and I've been in bed since then. And so it's like I'm pretty sure that's the area that is having the problem. Okay, like Jesus fucking Christ! Like how much I go to regenexx. I told them about. I go to get PRP and picl. I tell them like I went there and that helped me. Like if picl helped, then why would it have helped if that's not the problem? Like PRP, posterior PRP helped a lot. PICL helped a little bit. And if I had the money, I'd just keep doing regenerative medicine. I'd be like, okay, maybe I just need more regenerative medicine than other people, because I'm so damaged or whatever. Because I just don't have another $50,000, which is what I would need to probably get fixed. And so it's like, I don't have that, so this is the option. This is what I can do. And it's like, if upper cervical injections, the PICL, like takes me from walking 100 yards to like a mile, then like that means that there was a problem in my upper cervical. And this guy's like saying, like, I don't see a problem. I'm just like, look, this is what's going on with me. It's just like, oh my God. And no physical exam was done at all. They told me a physical exam would be done. None was done. I just felt like I was talking to someone that had no clue whatsoever about any of this stuff that I'm talking about. Regenerative medicine, upper cervical instability, how to diagnose upper cervical instability, how to capture upper cervical ligaments on imaging, what kinds of imaging are even good for that. Digital motion X-ray, like how to even do an MRI, like on that. Like I had to explain to him, like you're not going to capture any ligament damage on upper cervical imaging unless you're like Dr. Rosa and you know how to do that. And Dr. Rosa would rather die and take that to the grave than like tell anyone how to do that because he wants that sweet paycheck. So he's literally, Dr. Rosa is literally letting people die instead of helping. He could literally help millions of people, millions of fucking people across the world. And he's like, no. I'm keeping this shit for me. And you can pay me to get it. Like, what kind of a piece of shit does that? Like, what kind of a fucking garbage human being do you have to be to do that shit? Oh my God. Even if you were greedy, you could be like, you could say, all right, I'm gonna like patent this method, or I'm going to say you can use this method, and I'll show you how, but give me a percentage of the profit or whatever. Because then he'd make even more money than he's making now and be helping millions of people. But instead of doing that, he's like, fuck everyone, I'm in control. And I have the power and I have the money. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, like millions of people. It just blows my fucking mind, like how people can become that way. And just sleep soundly at night. Like they're just fine. They don't see a problem with it. Their staff don't see a problem. Nobody sees a problem with it. It's just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what he does should be standard procedure at every hospital in the country for people with neck problems. Every hospital. Like, you have a neck problem, you get basic imaging, you don't see any issues. All right, let's do some more in-depth imaging. Like, that should be standard every hospital in the country. And it's not. It's not done anywhere that I know of. His methods. Like, I've never seen anyone get as accurate results as him. There's probably some people here. I mean, there's a big country, United States. Probably some people out there doing similar stuff that you just don't know about. But I don't know about them. So it's like, I can't say. But Jesus fucking Christ. So anyway, explain that to the doctor. Doctor, of course, is not very happy with me because I'm explaining to him about how to do his job. It doesn't matter. It's like as politely as I can, but it's like I have to tell him this information, or he's never going to believe I have a problem. Like, oh, you can't see it on the imaging? Well, then it's not there. And I have to explain, like, no, like you can have damaged ligaments and it cannot show up on an MRI. And if I don't explain, then I'm not going to get surgery. So I have to explain. I have to tell him why I have ligament damage, like the mountain of evidence to prove I have ligament damage. Never mind that I can literally feel my head just kind of shifting around freely on the top of my skull and not really attached. Like, it's not being held in place. Never mind that. Just gloss over that fact. So, I don't know. He said he's going to discuss it with the other Dr. Malloy. And he was like, they can do those surgeries, which was at least promising to hear. Like, okay, here's someone that can actually do and has done craniocervical fusions and is aware that it's not that complicated a procedure. Like structurally, if you think about like what they're doing, they're drilling holes in your C1 or your C2 and then attaching some hardware and then attaching that to your skull. If they do your skull, it's put a plate in the back of your skull and put a piece of metal on that. Like it's just structurally, like from a physics point of view, from an engineering point of view, it's not complicated. And even Dr. Bolognese in that neurosurgeon in New York has said, this is not rocket science. It's not a complicated surgery. It's just a very sensitive area. Like if it was the same surgery but like on your lower back, it wouldn't be a big deal. Or if it was like on your elbow, it would be like nobody would care. It's just that it's just a sensitive, like it's a sensitive area. But it was still nice to hear someone was willing to operate in the area and has experience with this. So maybe there's an outside chance that they might be like, well, if you really want to try it, we could try it. Because I'm just like, look, man, I've been in bed for. Because he's like, this is a major surgery, and like, and you lose range of motion, and and I'm just like, man, the fuck do I'm in bed 23 hours a fucking day for 7 months, right? I got constant like pain. I got neurological symptoms, like my freaking. I can't even get a C1 shave until I stabilize my spine, because then it's like, okay, so let's say we shave a millimeter or two off your C1 transverse process, allow your internal jugular veins to flow. Oh, well, now your C1 shifted because it's unstable, and now it's squashing your IGVs again. So it's like, what's the point of even doing that operation? Like, I can't get blood flow. I'm hearing blood flow, like right now. And it's like, it's just a fucking nightmare. It's like, so I'm, they're going to discuss it when the doctor comes back on the 10th. And we'll see. And I'm supposed to go see Dr. Vera John upon the 9th. So I'm going to be in Ohio. And maybe, if I talk to them and say, I swear to God, if they tell me to come in again, I'm going to look, in fucking Ohio, assholes. Every time I come in, you're like, we need to see. You don't need to fucking see me. Can you see inside my head with your fucking x-ray vision? No. Okay, I'll send you a video of me trying to walk around. Jesus Christ, just piss me off. Ugh. If they did, like they didn't even fucking touch me. They didn't say, okay, now, move, turn your head to the right, turn your head to the right, look left, look up, look down. Like, what do you see? Nothing. How are you a fucking neurosurgeon looking at someone's neck? You don't fucking touch them. You don't ask them to move. Nothing. Nothing. He was content to just let me lie on the fucking table and be like, well, the imaging, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, he's like, the imaging doesn't show instability. The imaging, which is a picture of a non-moving person, doesn't show problems with motion. Huh, I wonder why. Like, god damn it. Like, I just want people to be not fucking morons for 5 fucking seconds. It's like everyone, I think of myself as a fucking idiot every day. Every day I'm like, I'm such an idiot. I did this, I did that, I fucked up, and I'm a fucking moron. And then I deal with other people in the world, and I'm like, I can't sleep, I'm in pain, I can't think, and I'm vastly smarter than them. And I'm not saying I'm vastly smarter than average. I'm saying I can't think straight. And it's just there, and I'm having to explain everything to everyone. And it's like, that makes me worried. Like, you're my doctor? It's just like, God, like, you're in charge of law enforcement, or you're in charge of my health, or you're in charge of my care at home, or what? It's just like the people I deal with, it's just like, oh, your brain. Like, even the police that visit me, they're like, yeah, we could take you and get you inpatient at a mental hospital. I'm like, is that what you do when you find someone dying on the street in a motorcycle accident? You take them to the mental hospital? Oh, man, you're really depressed about that head injury. Let's take you to the mental hospital. It's like, what kind of a fucking moron? Like, I've got a neck injury. Jesus Christ. Let's commit you and make it worse. You can lie in some shitty beds and they won't have care for you. You'll be in a much worse position. They won't let you sleep at night, because mental health hospitals, they don't let you sleep. They wake you up all night long. Because they're like, we have to do wellness checks. Which is just... I mean, I used to work in mental health, and I've been to places that deal with inpatient care. And I've even been inpatient myself. And those places, like, they do fucked up shit. Like, they artificially extend people's stays because they know insurance is paying for it. So they're just like they operate like a hotel. They always keep it at capacity. So when new people come in, they say, okay, we got to open it up. What people can go home. It's not like, oh, you're well, you can go home. It's just like, you're not going home for like 2 more weeks because you got to fucking stay here. So we're running low on patients, you know. And and this is like the employees telling me this, like while I'm a patient there, they're like, yeah, we gotta like they make us keep everything at capacity. And so, you know, so when they come around and wake you up at night, it makes you a little more crazy, which makes you take more medication. So they bill you insurance for that. You need to stay longer because you just started taking new medication. So they bill you insurance for that. And then they say, oh, it's just like a wellness check. I'm like, you're not going to, if I want to commit suicide, I can do it in the, you know, 2 hour, 3 hour window you give me at night where you're not checking on me. Like, you're not going to save anyone's life by doing that. Like, if you want a wellness check, just put a heart rate monitor. If someone doesn't even harden themselves, their heart rate's going to change drastically, and you're going to know it, and you're not going to miss any suicide attempts, right? So, like, if someone tries to hang themselves, you're going to get there before they complete the task 100% of the time, because you're going to see their heart rate go up, and it's like, you know, you're going to go check on them, and so, but they don't do that because they don't give a fuck about people's lives. Oh my god. Sorry. Oh my god. So anyway, I'm gonna go to Ohio, fly to Ohio. Somehow with my busted ass neck, I gotta make it there. And then Dad's gonna take me to Cincinnati. And then I have to deal with all this shit again with Vera Jonapus looking at me and saying, Durr, I looked at your MRI, it looked fine to me. Duh. I'm just say, okay, like, so can we use any of the numerous other methods for diagnosing craniocervical instability other than shitty MRIs? Or can we, like, you know, why don't you call Dr. Rosa, you as a doctor, and say, look, man, I need to diagnose people correctly with, you know, I mean, I'm having to call Dr. Rosa and telling him to send me the directions on how to use standard equipment and standard methods to capture alar ligaments so that I can send that to my doctor so I can say, here's how you fucking do your job. And it's like, why can't they do their fucking jobs? Why do I have to do their fucking jobs? And then they look at me like I'm an asshole because I'm like, here, can you do the MRI like this? Because this is what this doctor does, who very accurately and clearly diagnoses craniocervical instability using advanced methods you probably haven't seen. And I'm an asshole, you know, and it's like, you're ordering a 1.5T prone MRI at 3mm slices. Jesus fucking Christ. It's like, so anyway, I go to Cincinnati and talk to him and be like, all right, I actually have craniocervical instability and I need help. And if we need to, like, get more imaging, we'll get more imaging, whatever we got to do. But, like, here's my digital motion x-rays. Of course, he'll dismiss those because he wasn't taught those in school, so therefore they can't be real because anything that doesn't happen in school is fairy tales. And I mean, never mind that they tell you in school half the stuff you know in a few years is just going to be bullshit. Never mind that. They just hear stuff in school and they're just like, this is the way it is. You know what I think it is? I think it's cowardice. My theory is it's cowardice because they deal with serious shit and sometimes life or death surgery. And they're like, okay, if I just do what they taught me in school, then there's no blood on my hands. Because I just did what they taught me, you know, and that is what it is. And then, you know, and if it didn't work, then it's just bad luck for the patient. And they can go sleep soundly at night. Whereas if they go research a new method and try to do a more advanced method, and then it doesn't work, that's on them. Something they weren't taught in school, that's on them. And it's just like, you need to deal with that fear. Like, your job is to help people, and you need to do your job well, which means you need to learn new shit. And you need to be doing the new shit on people and helping them. and not be doing the old antiquated shit. And I know doctors like have things where they like will regularly like, brush up on their skills. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like just totally new methods of handling stuff that might be like it might be taught in schools. Like I'm sure digital motion X-rays would be standard and taught in schools 10 years from now, right? But like now it's not, and it's like doctors should be willing to say like, okay, well, does this work? Okay, well, I'm gonna adopt it. I'm gonna at least learn about it. And they don't want to do that because if they do, then they're responsible, and they're afraid because when they fuck up and they injure someone for the rest of their life, or if they make a mistake, and then that's on them, and it's like, look, you just got to deal with that. That's your job. Your job's to help people, so you got to do it to the best of your ability, and you're not because you're afraid that you'll be responsible for causing harm. But it's like, but the opportunity cost of that is you are not saving many, many, many people you would otherwise save. And because you're giving into that fear. So I think that's what that is. That's the fear of the unknown, fear of new ideas, because it's scary. And I am in bed because of that. Because of their cowardice. Yay. It's not just them. I mean, like, why are stem cells not covered by insurance? Because Americans in general are afraid of stem cells. Afraid of them. Like, oh my God, they're going to kill babies. It's like, no, it's bullshit. Anyway, that's what's up.